Good morning, students.
Good morning, sir.
Myself, Raghu, chemistry faculty. So, previously, I worked in some reputed organizations like Narayana Sri Chaitanya from Hyderabad. I have taught for JEE Mains, NEET, advanced level, previous colleges. So, now also I came here for that only. I have totally 15 years experience. And one more thing, I have completed my PG in specialization in organic chemistry. MSc Organic Chemistry from Andhra University from AP, Andhra Pradesh. And one more thing I want to clarify to students. Before there is a different question paper pattern for JEE mains level. Now it is changed. From last year I think it is giving 25 questions only. Actually that model is in advanced level actually. IIT advanced level is the JEE advanced. So now they are giving in one type of pattern mains level also. Previous examination they have 30 questions, but now there is only 25 questions. In previous 30 questions are MCQs, multiple choice questions, that was single correct. Now it is reduced to 25 questions. In that 20 questions are the multiple choice questions, all are single correct, but remaining 5 are numerical type questions. That means subjective type. So like that before in JEE advanced is subjective type questions. If you see that JEE advanced material in one reference book, or you may come to know that it is there. So previously 30 multiple choice questions is there. So equal weightage is there. Sometimes depending upon question paper setup. So someone are asking more questions from organic chemistry, someone are asking from physical chemistry. But whenever they change it to 25 questions, that is 20 plus 5 by numerical type, they are concentrating on mainly, we observed last year questions. Last year, two phase JEE mains examination. Mainly, maximum questions they are asking from physical chemistry and organic chemistry. Physical chemistry and organic chemistry, maximum questions they are asking. Because 20 only MCQ, 5 only numerical type. So numerical type means compulsory physical and inorganic is there. So in inorganic also from second year 1 or 2 chapters is there like that. Important chapters is there. Okay. So I'm suggesting, I'm advising to all to concentrate more on physical chemistry and organic chemistry. Okay. In organic chemistry, mainly more organic reactions is there. It is a separated branched chemistry. Why? Because due to the catenation property of carbon, it is forming numerous molecules. So that's why we are learning a separated branched chemistry, that is organic chemistry. Organic means which is the living organism. Okay. So we are generally nowadays in market it is a very common word, organic products, right? Means without chemical. So I think you know that you may learned in 10th class, that is carbon compounds, I think. So the carbon compounds is nothing but organic compounds, because which is formed with by bonding with other carbon atoms and hydrogens. So that's why it is called organic compounds. Also it is known as the hydrocarbons. So there is some classification of those elements, those are compounds, so which you will learn in organic chemistry. So the first year organic chemistry is the very most important. It is the basic, completely basic for the organic chemistry. We will learn about the organic chemistry, what is the hybridization of carbon in organic compounds, and how to name the organic molecules, and what is the isomerism of the organic compounds, and qualitative analysis and quantitative analysis of the organic substances. Qualitative is nothing but what elements are present in organic substance. Detection of elements is there. And similarly, how much percentage of that element is present in organic substance is the quantitative analysis. So, addition to that, we will learn about the some organic compounds, that is hydrocarbons, alkanes, alkenes, alkynes, and aromatic compounds, etc. So mainly you have to remember the IUPAC nomenclature and these are. So you have to concentrate on that for organic chemistry. That only the organic chemistry in first year. Like that, in first year, I think you know that in physical chemistry also there is a 5 chapters. How many is there? 5 physical chemistry chapters is there. What is it? First one is some basic concepts of chemistry, which is completely giving the information of basics of the concept on chemistry, right? So in that, very most important concept is mole concept. So we have to remember that mole concept everywhere it will come, the mole concept. So if we keep on practice problems on mole concept, and one more chapter is structure of atom. And then one more basic chapter is classification of elements, that is periodic table. That is inorganic actually, but it is a basic chapter of the chemistry. And the next one is chemical bonding. Okay, so these are the basic chapters. But in that, physical chemistry is 2 only. That is some basic concepts of chemistry and structure of atom. And then after that, states of matter, one more chapter, physical chemistry. And then chemical equilibrium, and 5th one is thermodynamics. So that same chapter you have in physics also, but there is different, here is different. The thermodynamics we will discuss about the system, that means chemical reactions on how the chemical reactions will occur, how much temperature it is required, means energy. Temperature is nothing but what? Energy means temperature also, right? So we are getting some energy from sunlight. Sunlight means what is that? Temperature only. Okay. So in sunlight, some reactions are taking place in sun. What is that? Fusion. Right? Hydrogen atoms combine, helium atoms combine to form a releasing energy, a molecule, and it is releasing the some energy. That releasing energy is emitting, means radiating, propagating, like whatever you learned in structure of atom, according to quantum theory. It will emitted in terms of waves. Okay, so that is a visible light. Whatever we are getting, the sunlight, right? So like that. So different chapters we have in physical chemistry. So in that already, so I told that you have completed 4 chapters. The 5th one is going on, and now one more chapter I am taking, that is from physical chemistry, that is states of matter. Okay, students. So someone admitted in the delay. So again, once again, I am introducing myself. So myself is Raghu Babu, chemistry faculty. So today I am going to discuss about the states of matter. Okay. So let's see. I think you learned about the matter. What is a matter? We can. What is a matter first of all? So today our topic is states of matter. This side. What is a matter, students?
Matter is anything which occupies space and volume.
And has its own mass.
As its own mass.
Yes.
Sir, anything with occupies space and has its own mass is called matter.
Yeah. Anything occupies space and having mass is the matter. We know that matter can exist in different physical states, right? So that is solid state, liquid state, and gaseous state. These three different physical states are interconvertible depending upon some factors, that is intermolecular forces and thermal energy. So means if you heat the solid, then it will become liquid, and further heating the liquid will become gaseous state. And similarly, if you cool, then the gas will become liquid. That liquid again will become, on further cooling, will become a solid state. For example, if you take water, water means, but in those three physical states, the matter molecule, whatever the molecule having that is the same. For example, water. In water, it can be exist in solid state as a ice. In liquid state, water, what generally we are telling that. And in a gaseous state, nothing but vapor phase, vapor state. What is that called? Steam, right? In those three physical states, a solid state, liquid state, and vapor phase, that is gaseous state, the composition of the substance, nothing but here matter is same, right? What is that? H2O. Okay, but here the solid is converting into liquid, and similarly on further heating the liquid is converting into gaseous state. Okay, so here this gas again by cooling will convert into liquid state, and on further cooling liquid state is converting into solid state. Here the temperature at which the solid can be converted into liquid state is known as the melting point. The process is known as melting process. So the process in which the conversion of solid to liquid. Clear? So that is a melting process. Okay. And similarly, on further heating, or the same substance or different another substance also, which is present at room temperature in liquid state. If you heat that, liquid state is converted into gaseous state, then it is known as the, what is the process name?
Vaporization of boiling.
Vaporization. Okay, the boiling point is different. Okay, the process in which the liquid state of matter or substance is converted into a gaseous state or vapor phase is known as vaporization. And similarly, if you cool the gas, then it will be converted into liquid, which is known as a condensation. Okay. So here, whenever you are heating the liquid which is converting to gaseous state, the temperature is known as boiling point. But here, the boiling point definition is different. Why? Because if you take any liquids like in gases, whenever it will convert into a gaseous phase which exert some pressure. Okay. So initially liquid is not having any pressure. Whenever the liquid molecules are converted to a gaseous molecules, then it will exert the pressure by the vapor phase molecules. So that pressure is known as the vapor pressure. If the vapor pressure of the liquid phase molecules, whenever it is equal to the atmospheric pressure at certain temperature, the temperature is known as the boiling point. Right? For example, by taking liquid in some bowl vessel, initially there is no vapor phase. If you see you take some container, half of the container volume you fill with water, There is no pressure. When you heat that liquid water, after some time you will get some pressure because of the liquid molecules is converted into gaseous molecules. So that gaseous molecules can exert some pressure, so that the pressure, whenever it is equal to the atmospheric pressure, it will completely escape from the container outside. Then only it will be boiled. So the temperature is known as the boiling point. Okay. So that boiling point for the water is 100 degrees Celsius temperature. So like that, different substances having the different boiling points. Okay. So like that. Here similarly, if the liquid is cooling to the solid, it will convert into solid. Then the process is known as a freezing point. Freezing process. The process is known as freezing. Okay. So that means here the physical state of a matter or substance which are interconvertible depending upon temperature. For example, you take LPG gases, LPG cylinder. Generally, which contains what? LPG cylinder generally contains hydrocarbons, which are known as petroleum products. Okay. That is mainly contains methane and butane. Okay, so that combination of gases also depending upon countries, because different countries having different temperatures, right? So that's why, but in our India, that contains methane and butane. Okay, so that are actually in gaseous state. Whenever they compress it on cooling only, it will become a liquid. So that's why if you touch the cylinder, you can feel cool. You can feel cool that cylinder. If you touch the cylinder, you can feel cool. Why? Because the gases are compressed and under a low temperature. So that's why it is a cooling. Okay. So similarly, like that here, solid to liquid, liquid to gas. This like this, the different states of matters exist. These are the generally whatever the physical state we are discussing about the matter is at room temperature. Generally, for any substance or matter, if we are telling the physical state of that substance means it is at room temperature. Okay. So what is the room temperature number?
27 degrees Celsius.
Ma'am?
27.
27 degrees Celsius. But scientifically, it is generally 25 degrees Celsius temperature, right? So you can see, you can observe that in books also, 25 degrees Celsius. In Kelvin, it is 298 Kelvin temperature. 298, because we can convert the degree Celsius to Kelvin. So how can we convert that? The Kelvin temperature is equal to degree Celsius plus 273. So by adding 273, what you will get here? 298 Kelvin. So generally, if you see any numerical problems, they will use at 298 Kelvin. 298 Kelvin means 25 degrees Celsius. Okay. So generally, 1 or 2 degrees variation. So generally, the room temperature is 25 to 27. Okay. Because it is as per science. Because the room temperature is depending upon areas. Okay. So now you take in Tumkur, the room temperature is different, and Bangalore also room temperature is different, right? And in some other areas in country, in our Karnataka, that is Gulbarga, and some other Bidar, like that, those are hot areas, hot areas. Okay, so the temperature is different. So that's why, as per science, the room temperature is 25 degrees Celsius, that is 298 Kelvin. Okay, remember that. So sometimes they won't mention the temperature in numerical problem. That's why you should remember this. Okay. So this is about the general introduction about the states of matter. Okay. So now let's go for to understand the states of matter. We should know some properties of the molecules also. Now, for example, you see that water molecule. The matter is water only, which is exists in different physical states and different temperatures. At room temperature, what is the physical state of water? Liquid state. Okay, so which is the interconvertible? Just now I told you that which is interconvertible depending upon temperature. When you cool, it will become solid, that is at 0 degree Celsius temperature. When you heat at 100 degree Celsius temperature, it will become vapor phase, that is gaseous state, which is called steam. Okay, so that's why here you can write that ice is the solid state. Okay, solid state it is. So generally we can mention this physical state of any matter when you write the chemical reactions as a subscription in brackets S with small letters. S is nothing but a solid, and which is converted into a liquid. So that is the water. So water is the liquid state here. So L, and which is converted into a steam. So this is the gaseous state. Okay. So in three physical state, the molecule formula of the water is H2O. Did you notice one point here? In any physical state, if you observe, the chemical composition of the matter does not change. Right? What is the chemical composition of water here? A combination of hydrogen and oxygen. Some basic concepts of chemistry you learned, right? Some gas laws of chemical combination, right? So like that here, so the chemical combination of matter does not change, okay, but the physical properties will be changed for the matter, and it is in different physical states. Okay, so you should learn some properties of the matter. So already you learned some properties of the matter. Is it or not? You learned or not?
Learned.
Learned or not the properties of the matter?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
What properties you learned? Like atomic size, atomic radius,
Yes.
ionic radius, right now? Ionization enthalpy, electronegativity, electron affinity, right now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So those some properties you learn, okay. But here, addition to that, some other physical properties we have to discuss. We should know. We should have some knowledge about the physical properties. Okay. So what is the physical properties, Nana? There is a properties. That properties are two types generally: physical properties
And chemical properties.
Sir, density, mass. Sir, density, mass, volume, length.
Yeah, that is the examples for the physical properties. Okay, and chemical properties are the
Combustion, evaporation.
acidity, basicity, right? So these are all the chemical properties. So which are physically observed, measurable properties, which are measurable and physically observable, are known as the physical properties without changing of the chemical combination. If there is a change in chemical combination which can be observed and measurable by changing in chemical combination, that is nothing but when the chemical reactions are occurred between the atoms or molecules is the chemical properties. Okay, so let's see, to understand the properties of matter, first we should know some two other properties, that is intermolecular forces and thermal energy. Okay, because the three different physical states of any matter depending upon these two factors. One is intermolecular forces and another one is thermal energy. So let's see what is the intermolecular forces. Intermolecular forces. If you observe any matter, for example water, in any physical state, you see that the molecules are holding together, right? Why? how the molecules are held together because of some attractive forces are existing between those molecules. Okay. If you take the matter may be present in elementary state or combined state. Right now, here water is in combined state. That is combination of hydrogen and oxygen. For example, if you take sodium metal substance, so then the sodium metal also exists in solid state. Sodium metal, aluminum, gold, silver. Okay, so like that. Some examples we are telling. This is in solid state, but in most of the matter is exist in maximum solid state only. Whatever matter is present surrounding to us is the solid state. That will be pure substance, right? But here, if you take the sodium metal or gold, you take the gold. What is the gold atomic symbol, Amma? AU, right?
AU, sir.
Huh?
AU.
AU, good. Okay, so Latin word Aram, right? Yeah, yes, Kusmara. Okay, so in gold substance, if you take some 1 gram or 2 grams, whatever you see that, in that gold atoms is there, means AU atoms is present. So AU atoms are held together by some attractive forces. Those attractive forces are known as the intermolecular forces. Okay, generally there is a repulsive forces also exist between the atoms or molecules. Okay, particles. Generally, we can say that particles. What is that particles? According to Dalton's atomic theory, what he said,
Atom.
the matter made up by a small teeny particles. Very small particles are known as
Atoms.
or molecules. Right? So the particles present in matter may be. Remember that whenever I'm recall the particles means nothing but it is the atoms, molecules, or ions depending upon the substance. For example, if you take water, the water particles are the H2O molecules. The sodium matter we are taking. What is the particles in sodium matter? Na atoms. Aluminium. What is the aluminium particles? Emma? Aluminium particles.
Al atom.
Al atoms. Okay. So like that. And one more silver. One more example.
Ag.
Ag. Argentinium. Okay. So in Latin word that is. Okay. So like that, some atoms. For example, now I am taking sodium chloride, salt. This is also one of the matter. Right? So what is the particles in sodium chloride?
NaCl.
Huh? Sodium ion and chloride ion. Sodium ion and chloride ion.
Chloride ion.
Yes. Those are combined together with the electrostatic attractive forces. Then those are forming the crystal lattice. That's why they are existing in solid state. Okay. But generally, what is the particles in sodium chloride? Substance Na plus ions and Cl minus ions. You know, students, what is ions? Ions means charged
Charged
particles.
particles.
Okay, which are maybe cations or anion.
Anion.
Anions means positively charged. Yeah, not positive. Immediately you have to respond there. Okay. So sometimes I am asking like this. Okay, whether you are following or not, are you alert or not? Okay. So student must be like a soldier. Right? You have to shoot this lecturer. Right now? Students, are you getting?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Anions?
Negatively charged.
Right? And cations means
Positively charged.
Positively charged.
so there may be monoatomic, diatomic, triatomic, polyatomic ions. That may be cations or anions. So like that, the matter contains the particles which may be atoms or molecules or ions, right? So now, if you see that ions, for example, sodium ion and chloride ion, you learned about why. Just now I told you, intermolecular forces means the attractive or repulsive forces are present between interacting particles is known as of matter is known as the intermolecular forces. But it the attractive and repulsive forces present between interacting particles of matter. What is interacting particles of matter is called intermolecular forces. So here what I am telling that attractive forces is there and repulsive forces also is there. Okay, you can understand that there is attractive forces, that's why the particles are held together. But why the repulsive forces also is there? Because you know that you learned in a matter, if you take any element, the ultimate particle of a matter is an atom. That atom is also further subdivided into a particles which are known as subatomic particles or fundamental particles, that is electrons, protons, neutrons mainly. Okay, other than that so many is there, but mainly electrons, protons, neutrons. Here the protons and neutrons are present in nucleus, the electrons are revolving around the nucleus. Okay, so that means nucleus means it is completely protons having. The protons are the positively charged. If there is only attractive forces between the particles, then what will happen? Those particles will be very close to each other. Whenever the particles are very close to each other, then what will happen? Immediately, whenever they close to each other, very close, then due to presence of positive charge of the particles, the repulsive force also raises. Okay, repulsive force also raises. Okay, but finally, ultimately, what will happen? The attractive forces are dominating the repulsive forces, so that the particles interact and held together by the attractive forces and exist in a different physical states. Got it point, all of you? Okay, we know that like poles are repulsive, unlike poles are the attractive. Right? So whenever those are very close to each other, then immediately repulsive forces also raises. So that's why what I am telling here, intermolecular forces means the attractive and repulsive forces present between interacting particles of matter is called intermolecular forces. Got it, all of you? Okay. So write running notes also. Okay, na? So what is the definition? Write down that the definition of intermolecular forces. Sometimes one mark questions they may be asked. Sometimes they may ask the NEET examination or mains examination also. Okay, we don't know that. Okay, so we cannot avoid any simple point also. Okay, so the attractive and repulsive forces present between interacting particles in bracket atoms or molecules of the matter is called intermolecular forces. But here the only attractive forces are called van der Waals forces. Okay, only attractive forces present between the interacting particles of the matter is called van der Waals forces. It is the name of scientist, Dutch scientist van der Waals. Okay, so that's why remember that generally in some books they are mentioning intermolecular forces or van der Waals forces. Intermolecular forces are van der Waals forces. Why? Because without attractive forces, the matter cannot exist in any physical state. If there is no existence of matter, then there is no universe. Right? So that's why generally they are considering the attractive forces are the intermolecular forces or van der Waals forces, and also addition to that there is a repulsive forces between the atoms, because whatever the matter is there, okay, ultimately it should have the stability. Why the chemical reactions are getting in between the atoms and molecules? To get the stability. Okay, when you observe the periodic table, noble gases are the inert gases, those are very stable compared to the other elements. Okay, based on that, what we are telling that Purcell-Lewis theory told that explains what that valence electrons of remaining all elements always acquiring to get the 8 electrons in their valence shell, that is octet. Okay, to get the more stability is known as the octet rule. Okay, so that's why the atoms, elements are always trying to participate in the chemical reactions. Right, clear? But we are forcing some chemical reactions are taking for preparing some other required substances. Okay, so but water, if you take that water, we are not preparing the water. We cannot prepare also water. Can you prepare in laboratory water? No, it is not possible, because at room temperature hydrogen and oxygen is in gaseous state. Okay, so in gaseous state, whatever the hydrogen oxygen is there, to combine that, first we have to break the hydrogen molecules and then oxygen molecules, and then a new bond should form between hydrogen and oxygen, then only water molecule obtained. We learned about this one in chemical bonding, right? So that's why. Okay, so like that, some matter substance exist in the universe. Okay, so this is the definition of intermolecular forces. Okay, so once again I am repeating. Okay, so see that the attractive and repulsive forces present between interacting particles of the matter is known as the intermolecular forces. The only attractive forces of the present between the interacting particles of the matter is known as van der Waals forces. So here the intermolecular forces are the 4 types. Okay, so there is a different type of intermolecular forces. The first one is London forces. London forces. So which is also known as dispersion forces. Because in between the molecules interacting particles of the matter, the force of attraction present in the particles is found by the London, scientist names London. Okay, so those forces in the name of London, it is called London forces or dispersion forces. Okay, so first I will explain what is the London forces definition. That is the force of attraction present between interacting particles. The force of attraction between interacting particles. Interacting particles, in bracket, non-polar molecules. Non-polar molecules is known as the London forces or dispersion forces. And in other words also we can define the London forces or dispersion forces. And one more definition you write, or next para you write, or and the next para. Okay, so how to write the next para means, so first you wrote one definition, next you write like this R, and then you write from next para here. Okay, give some space in the first line. Okay, like that you write. Okay, the force of attraction the force of attraction present between temporary dipole of interacting particles of the matter. Interacting particles of the matter is called London forces or dispersion forces. Okay, so that is the definition of London forces or dispersion forces. So what is that? I will explain. First you listen here, all of you. Okay, so here what we are telling that the forces of attraction present between the interacting particles, that is in non-polar molecules, and one definition. Another definition, the force of attraction present between temporary dipoles, okay, of the interacting particles of the matter is known as the London forces or dispersion forces. Okay, now I will take one interacting particle generally. So remember that these dispersion forces are present generally in atoms. If it is in molecules, means that is a non-polar molecules. Okay, non-polar molecules. For example, if you take sodium substance, sodium matter, which contains only Na atoms. Okay, so now I am taking two atoms, that is atom A and atom B. This is the atom A and this is the atom B. Okay, so generally according to the Thomson atomic model, Bohr's atomic theory, Rutherford atomic theory, what is the atom's shape? Spherical shape, right? So that's why I am taking it spherical shape, right? So the atom generally having the spherical shape according to the atomic theories, different atomic theories, right? Okay, but here if you see any atom, the electron cloud is uniformly distributed around this nucleus, That means symmetrically present. The electron cloud is symmetrically present around the nucleus in space. Is it right or not? You learned about this electronic cloud. That what is that electronic cloud? That is nothing but orbital. Am I right? Orbital. So what is that? Around this space, the probability of finding the electron is maximum. That is 95%. Okay, is known as the orbital. Orbital is nothing but electron cloud, right? So we have different type of orbitals, S, P, D, F, like etc. Okay, that means here in spherical shape, the nucleus, that is positive charge present on center of the atom. Okay, so this is the center. Okay, so now here the electron cloud is symmetrically present around the nucleus. Symmetrically means in uniformly around the nucleus. So that means it will be present like this. Electron cloud is present like this in all atoms generally. Okay, but momentarily means minute to minute. Okay, so that the symmetric nature of the electron cloud around the nucleus will be changed. Okay, then it will become unsymmetrical. So that electron cloud which is present symmetrically around the nucleus will become unsymmetric minute by minute. Minute by minute it may be become a unsymmetric. Whenever it is unsymmetric, then what will happen? The electron cloud will be present on one end of the spherical shape of the atom and positive charge present on one end of the spherical shape. So then it will become like this. Right? Right? So that means here on one end there will be a positive charge, on one end the negative charge is there. Electron cloud is nothing but negative charge. So negative charge means it is a minus. So, momentarily, what is happening? The symmetric nature of the atom is becoming unsymmetric. Okay, so unsymmetric means the electron cloud is present more dense on one end. So that means here the polarity is rising on the atom. You know what is the polarity? Rising of dipoles. In chemical bonding, you learn chemical bonding chapter is finished. Polarity, rising of the dipoles. Okay, so two poles are rising there. So one end is positive, one end is negative. Right? So then what will happen? There will be a dipole movement. The polarity is there, the molecule having the atom having the dipole movement. Okay. So here, whenever the negative charge is present more here, unsymmetric, then it will get partially negative charge and here partially positive charge. It is not completely positive and negative, but one side partially negative charge and one side partially positive charge. Partially means very slightly, little bit, so that we can represent as a delta. Okay, na? So delta minus and delta plus. So means momentarily what is happening? The symmetric nature of atom is becoming unsymmetric. So due to that, a temporary dipole is rising on one atom, that is atom A. Okay. Due to this temporary dipole, which can induce the dipole on B atoms. Okay. Whenever they are approaching the atoms, okay, whenever they are approaching, then what will happen here? Dipole, temporary dipole is there. One side negative charge is there. Here the electron cloud is there, symmetrically on one another atom. Okay. So then the negative charge immediately induce the positive charge to one side. Or what it will do? It will distort the electron cloud of the other atom B. Distort the electron cloud. Why? Like poles are repulsing. So that's why immediately what will happen here on other atom, the induced dipole will be raised. So that's why on atom B also one more temporary dipole will be raised. One more temporary dipole will be raised. So due to these temporary dipoles, what is there? One end negative, one end positive is there. So then unlike poles are attracted. But which is very less, momentarily it is changing. Momentarily means minute by minute it is changing. It is not constant, it is not stable. So that's why whenever the temporary dipoles are raising on atoms, due to become a unsymmetric nature of the atoms, some attractive forces are raises. Those attractive forces between the dipoles, temporary dipoles of the atoms is known as London forces or dispersion forces. Why? Because here you see that first on one atom temporary dipole is rising. This temporary dipole is dispersing on other atom. Okay. So this is the atom A and this is the atom B. So then in between these two atoms, temporary dipoles of these two atoms, some attractive energy, attractive force is there. That attractive force is the London force or dispersion force. Okay. So the dispersion force of those atoms is inversely proportional to 6th power of internuclear distance of atoms. Okay, so this is the distance between the atoms. Okay, so here attractive forces is there, which is inversely proportional to 6th power of internuclear distance, 1 by r power 6. Here r is the internuclear distance of the atoms. Internuclear distance of the atoms. But here, this London force or distance force is present up to maximum 500 nanometers only. Remember this. This is the need point, competitive point that is. Okay, the dispersion forces are exist between the atoms in maximum distance is, what is that? Approximately 500 nanometers. Understood, all of you students?
Sir, that inversely proportional to internuclear distance. Can you explain that, sir?
Yeah. Here, the attractive force of, that is London force, present between the atoms is inversely proportional to sixth power of internuclear distance. That is the R. For example, this is the nucleus, this is the nucleus, this is the nucleus of the two atoms. Okay. So whenever they will approach maximum near very close distance, then the distance between these internuclear distance is the R. Got it now? Okay. So
Yes, sir.
this is the sixth power. That energy, whatever attractive forces is there, that attractive force is inversely proportional to sixth power of internuclear distance. Got it, Aman?
Got it.
Okay. Understood? What about remaining students? Please
Understood, sir.
Understood, sir.
Yes, sir. Understood, sir.
Understood, sir.
Very good, very good. Thank you. Okay, so this is the London forces and the dispersion forces.
Sir, the positive charge moves. The positive charge moves away from there.
This is actually the symmetric nature of the atom, right? That means the electron cloud is symmetrically distributed around the nucleus in general, that is whatever we learned according to the atomic theories. But momentarily I am telling, that means minute by minute its symmetric nature will be changed in the atoms.
Only electrons will change.
Yes.
Then it should, positive charge should be in the center.
No. That only I am telling. Not complete positive charge will not change. Positive, just for our convenience, for the understanding only, I wrote the positive charge on one side. Okay. But actually, what will happen? The positive charge always present in center of the atom only. That is in nucleus only. But what will happen? Minute by minute, this electron cloud, whatever presents symmetrically on the atom, it will become unsymmetric. Unsymmetric. Why? Because here this is around the nucleus. Here the electron cloud is a real electron on two atoms. Right? Whenever these are close to each other. Okay. So then what will happen? The electron cloud is nothing but negative charge. So this is negative charge, this is also negative charge. So then immediately repulsive force is rises. So whenever this negative charge is approach this one, it will discharge this negative charge. Okay, so that's why slightly it will be polarized on other side, other end of the atom. Okay, when it will happen means, so minute by minute, whenever the atom and getting the unsymmetric nature, then it will get the temporary dipole. Due to this temporary dipole, which can induce the temporary dipole of another atom. Okay, why? Because it is approaching this electron cloud is distorting the electron cloud of the other. So generally, which can represent like this also. Directly I wrote here. So first one will happen here. So this is the first we have like this atoms. Then on one atom, the temporary dipole is rises. So here delta plus and delta minus. So here plus minus are getting. Okay. Slightly only, not completely, slightly. Okay. So here what is there? Another atom, completely electron cloud is uniformly distributed. Now you observe that here negative charge is there, here also negative charge is there. The repulsive raises, then this electron cloud will be distorted from to another end. Okay, to another end it will be distorted. So by distorting that, again on this atom also one more temporary dipole will be raised. Okay, so one more temporary dipole we can write like this. So then here delta plus, delta minus, delta plus, delta minus. Now you got, okay. So here what is happening? Two temporary dipoles is there on two different atoms. So that's why some attractive force is rise between the atoms. These are the interacting particles. What I told you? Between the interacting particles. Okay. So interacting particles generally this is present in atoms and also in non-polar molecules, because non-polar molecules are not having the dipole. Right? Hydrogen, chlorine molecule, oxygen molecule, okay, are different atoms containing molecule which are similar in electronegativity. Okay, similar electronegativity. For example, HCl is the polar molecule, but not a non-polar. And one more molecule, can you say that non-polar examples for non-polar molecules? Same type of atoms and different type of atoms. N2 is the same type of atoms. Okay, non-polar with the different atoms. BF3, BCl3, AlCl3, aluminum chloride, boron trichloride. Got it, Nana? Students, are you following them now?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So actually it is a simple concept, but in that some competitive bits is there. So that's why like this I am explaining. Okay, na? So like this. So first the atoms having the symmetric nature. After some time, minute by minute momentarily, one atom becoming the unsymmetric. So due to that, it is getting the temporary dipole moment. Temporary dipole. This temporary dipole can reduce the temporary dipole on another one. Okay. So means this dipole is dispersion on other one. Okay. So that's why whenever the two temporary dipoles are present on different atoms, then attraction force is rises. That attraction force is known as the London force or dispersion force, which is inversely proportional to 6th power of interdistance of the molecule, atoms or molecules or interacting quantities. Okay, so that is the London force, and which is present in between the atoms in maximum distance approximately 500 nanometers. So this point previously asked in previous examination, complete. Okay, which one is 500 nanometers, and interaction energy, the London force, dispersion force energy, okay, between the atoms is inversely proportional to, that is proportional to 1 by r power 6. Got it, all of you students? So that is the one intermolecular force. Okay. So next day we will discuss about the second one, dipole interaction. Dipole interaction. And 2 points to remember. The London force or dispersion force generally exists between atoms. Okay. Same type of atoms. Atoms means same type of sodium substance, aluminum substance, silver, gold, chlorine, okay, and non-polar molecules, okay, atoms and non-polar molecules. These points are competitive points. Okay, thank you, Amma. We will continue in next class. I hope you understood this class.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
okay,
Yes, sir.
bye.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Bye,
sir.
How is the class? First class, my first class.
Sir, it was nice.
Good or not?
It was nice, sir.
Nice, sir.
Right, Amma. Thank you. We will continue next
Thank you,
class.
sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Bye, sir.
Okay.